Okay, welcome to the Zag Talk Podcast Live. My name is Guy Danhoff, and I'm going to be joined with Lisa Paulson in just a second as we are going to do the pregame live stream here tonight to talk about SHAPE Baltimore. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited for this, and I'm going to bring on my co-host, and that is Lisa Paulson. Lisa, how are you?
So good. So good. I'm so excited to be here tonight. We have great guests on deck here, and Baltimore is right around the corner.
Well, it is, and there it is right here. I'll pop it on the screen for everyone again. If you have not registered yet, you still have time because the expo is April 1st through the 5th. And if you want to register, you go right here. And that is at shapeamerica.org, as well as if you want to get some more behind the scenes information, you want to look at the actual convention schedule, it's all there. So you can go right there at www.shapeamerica.org. So Lisa, when you think about this, we've been hosting this now for our second year. I know this isn't as cool as like the Emmys or the Grammy Awards, but the kickoff show of what's going to happen in just about 8 days is so exciting. So what are you most looking forward to?
Well, I'm really looking forward to tonight's show, and I think it'll be a great overview, especially for new attendees, for those who are watching who haven't attended National Convention before, but also returning attendees and things that are happening, things that are on deck. There's a lot of exciting things happening within SHAPE America, and so I'm really excited for tonight's show. But Guy, in terms of Baltimore, I think the thing that I'm always most excited for is seeing our SHAPE family and friends. I always tell our future professionals how lucky they are to join a profession where we have such a family and such a community, and prepare to be, I think the word is exhausturgized, right? Prepare to be tired because
Yep.
you're putting all of it in there, and it's a lot of energy and a lot of time and learning and being on, if you will, but also it's so rejuvenating. And I
It
know
is.
that I'm really looking forward to that feeling and bringing that energy back to my students for the rest of the semester.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're watching live, you can go in and type in comments at any time or questions. And we got one right now for you. It's more of an announcement than anything. But Lisa, you know this was coming, and it's about the countdown. Talk to us about the SHAPE countdown.
Yes. So the SHAPE countdown is back. It started on Saturday, so it's not too late. If you miss a question, it's okay. Feel free to chime back in. But this year, the SHAPE countdown is happening on several other venues beside from Twitter and Facebook. I just want to check to make sure I'm good. It's happening on Exchange. It's happening on Twitter. It's happening on Facebook. It's also happening on the Health and Physical Education Collective. So if you haven't chimed in yet, it's not too late. We're on day 9 is today, day 8 is tomorrow.
Yep.
10-day countdown. It's a great way to bring together folks and build up the excitement within our HPE community.
Yep, Lisa, we got another comment right there. So excited to see all my peeps. None other than LaDonda Porter. I LaDonda. Exactly. All right. Why don't you bring on our first guest?
All right. Well, our first guest, of course, is President Cara Grant.
Hey, everybody.
Cara,
hey.
how are you?
I'm good. I was just saying how excited I am. I think I'm already exhausted-sized because just the lead up, the hype, and it's in Maryland. SHAPE Maryland is where I grew up professionally with SHAPE America as well. So we're in, as others say, my backyard for sure.
Yeah, it's so exciting to have your convention in your home state. That's really awesome. Can you share a little bit about the theme that you chose for this year, as well as I know we picked some really awesome keynotes. What can folks look forward to?
There's a lot going on. That's great. What we have really, for me, it's super important that we focus on transformational leadership, leading with love, and doing it from an equity, diversity, and inclusion lens. I know that's a lot. And we have to start with ourselves when we're leading. We got to make sure we're motivating ourselves to give ourselves the best so that we can give our students the best, so we can give our colleagues the best that we have for each other. And that it's not like a transaction, that it's truly meaningful, that we give that love and care for one another. And that's really the emphasis I've been trying to give Maya Angelou said, it's not like what people say, it's really how you make them feel in the end. And that's my hope for how you will feel when you're leaving this convention.
So true. So true. It's all about the feels, all about relationships, right? So
in the keynotes, there's going to be actually three amazing keynotes. There's going to be an opening and a closing, but the closing, there's going to be two speakers. We have Chris Carneal from Booster, CEO from Booster. And, Health Moves Minds is now powered by Booster. And he's super energized. I heard so many amazing things about him with his presentation and other conventions as well. And then our closing session is brought to you by the Chuck and Kathy Corbin Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion keynote. And we have Nikisha Floyd, who's the Associate Director for Racial Justice and Sex Ed with Advocates for Youth, which is a brand new sponsor of this convention. So shout out to Advocates for Youth. And she's joined with a public health student from North Carolina Central University, Linnea Gilmore. So I'm super excited about those. They're going to give us different energy, different vibe, and really fill our buckets from a holistic perspective to get us energized and get us ready to plant those seeds to move on after we're leaving convention.
Awesome. So yes, don't forget to attend the keynotes. Mark your calendars for those for sure. And then, Cara, we rolled out recently our new PE and health standards, and what an awesome opportunity we have coming up at National Convention to continue to learn more about those. Can you share anything else that's on deck that folks should look forward to?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's going to be a lot of sessions that are focused on them throughout, so you can look for those. Also, there are some bonus sessions on Saturday that you could join. Their ticketed sessions. I attended last year because I was so excited. I went to the PE one. I went to first at the convention, but I also supervise health education. So then I went to Minneapolis to get the health education one. And they're so good, and the constant cycle of improvement too. So as feedback has been coming from each iteration of these trainings, they've just been getting better. They've been improved to better serve the needs of all teachers and stakeholders that are really engaging in this. So I'm super excited for those. And I'm gonna lose it if I go too hard in the paint, right? I mean, we're talking March Madness here, and want to make sure I'm taking my 3-pointers, but also going in for the dunk too. So you want to make sure that you're gonna attend at least one specific health or PE standards, depending on your perspective and your role. You're going to get a ton out of it, and even just like the meaningful PE piece too. We have to engage our students in a different way, and we have to love on each other and love on them too. So check it out. You won't miss out. There are so many great sessions happening this year.
So, Cara, we have to ask the question. I've been very blessed since Judy Lobianco's presidency in SHAPE Tampa 2019. I've asked this of every president, so I'm going to ask it of you. How are you leaving your mark on SHAPE Baltimore as a president?
Okay, here comes the boom, right? In a good way. In a good way, here comes the boom.
Okay.
I hope that the energy I have, but it's not really about me, right?
Right.
Hopefully I make you feel good, but not because I'm doing something, but because we as an organization, we as a collective are doing something to help each other out. A lot of crazy things are happening in our local school districts, in our nation, and it's a huge time for us to come together to focus on education.
Right.
And how we do education and how we're serving students from mental and emotional health, and how physical activity is a great way as a coping mechanism, and how we're teaching them through physical education classes in colleges and through the research that's happening. So just like really make those connections with people. That's what I really want my energy and love to really be about, is who are you aligning with to build yourself up so that you can build somebody else up, and that you can lift somebody else up with you as you're going through these experiences.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, Lisa, I think it's time to bring on our next guest. And I think we're going to be going and bringing on none other than the president-elect, Mr. Joe
Deutsch.
Deutsch. Wow.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, how are you?
What's up? My mouth or my name sound like a handful for you there, Guy.
I know, and it shouldn't, because that's one of the easier names to say. Like I said, I was saying this before we went on camera, because I do all these football games, college broadcasts. I always have phonetic spellings. Not that I needed it for yours, but man, I don't know what's going on tonight. How do I butcher that name? So if you wonder, in broadcast, sometimes I get the nickname The Butcher. That's why. Butcher the names. All right. So Joe, talk to us about, obviously you're the president-elect, and obviously, you're here, you're getting a crash course on what it's like to be on the executive committee, and certainly in this role. So talk to us a little bit more about the health and PE standards. What can we look forward to?
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, like you're saying, we've gotten our health and PE standards. We released them at the conference last year. We
Right.
kind of spent the year infusing them, but now the next step is we have to look at the heat and PEAT standards, right? So the health and physical education teacher prep standards, and so yes. Your karaoke partner, and so so we're kicking that off right away, right away pre-conference, right at noon on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's critical conversations in health and physical education, a forum on teacher preparation and retention. Dr. Leanne Olson and Dr. Emily Jones are going to be hosting that. There's going to be a luncheon for it, so that's an add-on pre-conference. So any higher education people, there's still time to add that to your registration. So feel free. And that's where we're just gonna. I'm gonna dive into my karaoke. I got a lot of karaoke partners out there today, and so we're gonna have that, and hopefully as many of us future professional faculty can get there. I know Lisa's super excited about it, right? And so we'll do that right away in the afternoon, and then the next day, first day of conference, Tuesday. I mean, the full day is higher ed day, and
Yep.
so the SHAPE America Professional Preparation Council is going to shoot out right away at 8:00 in the morning with a session from 8 to 9 on collegial discussions about programming and teaching and heat PEAT programs. So the one right away on Monday was just to start having those conversations, right? Because as you remember, the process, the long process we went through of getting to the finish line on the standards.
Yep.
We need to make sure that everybody gets to the table, that we have all voices represented and heard, and make sure, because you get one shot to redo these things at a time. So super excited about that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joe, for sharing that. And the other thing I want you to talk about, and this has been kind of a newer feature, certainly at the national level. I know some states have tried to adopt it. I know we had in Missouri just a few years ago, but that is the coffee talks. And I have to tell you, from doing coffee talks last year, I had 3. This year I have 2. But I love the intimacy. I love the people who show up. They're there. They want to roll up the sleeves and they want to get deep. They just want to just hear your presentation, but they want to talk about some things that are very specific. So talk to us about, I believe it's 3 days of coffee talks. And so talk to us about those.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings, 9:30 to 10:30 each day.
Yep.
The nice thing about it is they're different topics each time. You see them in the schedule, but then you come into the exhibit hall area, and outside of that area or whatever, the tables are set up, and the hosts are sitting at the tables. I'm hosting 3, one Tuesday, one Wednesday, one Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but the best part to me about it is instead of attending a session where you're listening to somebody else talk,
right?
Flip the script, and I got topics like using emotional intelligence to connect with your students. I'm not going to sit there and talk about how I do it for an hour. I want to hear what people have to say and help them make connections with other people. And this is your opportunity at Coffee Talks every morning from 9:30 to 10:30 to share share what your knowledge, and maybe and maybe make some new connections with people who clearly have similar interests to you if they're showing up for that same conference, so, or for that same session. So they're very laid back and very interactive. In fact, highly encouraged that the participant or that the attendees are the participants.
Yeah, they're right there in the exhibit hall. I know that I have two. One of mine is on how school districts are beginning to use AI in the classroom. And my second session is one that was highly well attended last year. That bring in a few extra tables. And that is looking at the impact of social media on mental health in teens. And yeah, you want to talk about a topic, and it gets deep. And again, what I love, like Joe, what you said, it's a flip script where I'm going to lead off with some stats, figures, some resources, things like that. But after that, we're going to get into a deep dive discussion, which is why I think the Coffee Talks, to me, is one of the richest things you can do and attend. If you're looking at trying to get to some really good sessions, the Coffee Talks is definitely a way to go, because there's so many different diverse topics and sessions that are being offered as well.
And it's really easy if the one that you sit down at doesn't fit you necessarily right away. It's really easy to get up and
that's true.
To another one, as opposed to moving rooms or whatever during traditional sessions. So it's just an awesome way to start off every single morning, where everybody gets a chance to be a participant.
Yeah, well, Karen's agreeing with you, and I can't believe this. What the heck? I am the only and the best. Wow, Joe, you must have a fan club going on there. What can I say? All right, we're moving on. Thanks, Joe. Lisa, who is our next guest?
Well, none other. Thank you, Cara. Thank you, Joe. Our next guest is none other than past president of SHAPE America, Judy LoBianco. Jersey girl at heart. Judy, how's it going?
Oh, it's me, SHAPE America, Judy LoBianco, past president, co-author of the book, Organization Administration of Physical Education Program, second edition with Jane Greenberg. Get yours today. I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much. And hello to our esteemed guests and volunteers, and Lisa and Guy. This is awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Judy, thanks so much for being here. We love your energy. So we know that you've been doing a lot of work around the state of New Jersey in particular, teaching people about our new standards and meaningful physical education. Can you share a little bit more about that and about your 360 approach?
Yeah, so what's interesting about my lens is that you go to convention and people want to be there and they're motivated to be there. They want to know about the standards. I'm doing something very different. I'm going into PD workshops where teachers who may or may not be members of SHAPE America, may or may not have been to any workshops at all in their entire life, are now hearing from me about the new health and PE standards and how they are game changing around changing the lives of children from the inside out, right? And I am offering this 360 perspective, as you had said, around the fact that the content we teach now becomes not as important as wrapping the content in a relationship with kids. I had this great conversation with a high school teacher in Cleveland last year. And I said, what do you think of the standards? And he gave me the most beautiful answer. He said, I think they're great because I'm doing right by kids. And when you do right by kids, these standards back right up into you. And I really appreciated him saying that. And it is the truth that now finally teachers who had great voices when it came to the standards said, what are we missing? What are we missing? What we're missing is the 360 approach. So that now I get to teach things like conflict resolution and relationships. And I get to really lean in hard on this idea of meaningful PE. And we hear kids telling us, I want to have fun in your class. I want social interaction. I want challenge. Out of the mouths of babes, you can't deny it. Kids come to school for connection, and these standards, it's just the best thing I've seen in the 35-year career I've had. I'm just so excited that again, this year we get to celebrate the work, the hard work, the long work that all of us have done around giving feedback into those standards.
That's so good. And I'm so excited. I know we also have a lot of sessions around the meaningful PE framework, and there's a lot of really good things to look forward to in Baltimore. And then Judy, I think your organization is hosting a social.
Oh, yes. I am. Everybody's seen on social media, I'm retiring. I'm retiring from the profession, but not from service to the profession. I want to make that very clear. Because I don't think I'm slowing down anytime soon around that. But one of the things I'm very excited about, one of the last acts that I'm doing as the president and CEO of HPE Solutions, is to co-sponsor a Thursday night session for educators, Black and Indigenous people of color. It's the first time we've ever done this. It is a great opportunity for us to see and hear and acknowledge and support people who have amazing perspectives on the work being done every single day. It has to be present. It has to be fully realized. And this is just a one-of-a-kind opportunity for my company and a one-of-a-kind opportunity for our organization to hear from diverse voices that may or may not have been heard from before. So I'm really excited about being able to support this social in this way.
Love it.
So, Judy, just to be clear, like when I hear you say retirement, there was someone in our state in Missouri that said retirement too, and I don't think he's slowed down either. And I believe he might be just a little bit older than you.
Yeah, no, he's making fun of me too.
Yeah, I know.
Judy, if you were going, you would be what number karaoke partner for Joe?
I'm not sure, but I obviously can't make it to Baltimore. I told everybody I'm moving to South Carolina. I won't be able to join you in Baltimore, so everybody has to get up and represent me on karaoke. Everybody has to fill in, right? So I hope you all have a wonderful time. I'm going to miss you all terribly. I hardly ever miss a national convention, but I'll be looking forward to reconnecting with everybody in Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll miss you, and thanks for all you and HPE Solutions is doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. My pleasure.
Yeah. All right. So, Lisa, we're going to take a kind of a sharp left turn. We're going to kind of change the focus on our content. We're going to bring on none other than 2022 National Teacher of the Year for Adapted PE, Jen Hebink. Jen, yeah, I know.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Love that microphone of yours, by the way. You have that really radio voice. Love it. And I'm assuming you have that microphone for a specific purpose. So why don't you talk to us about what is going on in the world of Jen?
Okay, so the last year I've done a couple of projects for SHAPE America and just around my state. Excuse me. And I realized that there are a lot of teachers who need a lot of extra help making their classrooms inclusive and teaching students with disabilities, and how do we do that all together? And so I started thinking what would be the easiest thing, because people email me and connect with me all the time on Twitter, and I realized I feel like there's a better way to do this. And so when I started to think through some of these options, what if I can get into a podcast, and that would take some of the pressure off me, but also people can just log in when they can and get some training and some connection. And so I have a new podcast, and this is the first time we have said it across anywhere besides social media on my own account. But I'm going to be premiering the Adapted PE podcast. They're the heartbeat of Adapted PE podcast on 4/4/2025 in SHAPE Baltimore. And so the Heartbeats of Adapted PE podcast is coming to you soon.
Yeah, seriously, Jen, that is just so exciting. And talk to us about, the approach, because you actually, I think, did one of the wisest things you could possibly do is you've put together an advisory board so that you guys are looking at very carefully the content, the subjects, the guests that you're going to have, for this next upcoming year. Talk to us a little bit about that, because from what I can tell, I just think it's so robust as what you're doing in the adaptive PE space with this podcast.
Yeah, so I love my advisory board for a variety of reasons. First of all, I have a span of people who are so smart and so just have a heart to help others in adapted PE. I have Dr. Megan Johnson, who is a professor up north in Minnesota, and she's one of my besties. And then I have Mr. Justin Lund, whose name is probably familiar to you as Teacher of the Year from last year. So he'll be presenting this year. And then I have Jordan Manley, who is currently running, he's a National Teacher of the Year as well, but he's also currently running the Health and Physical Education Collective, which I'll talk about hopefully in a little bit here too. And then I have Jess Matheson, my Minnesota connection, who also was a National Teacher of the Year for Health the same year I was. And so what I love about this board is that each of us has really, really good strengths And when I got us together the first time, I'm like, hey, you guys, I'm good at these specific things, but I brought you into this space with me because I stink at these other things. And I think they really appreciated that, like leading with vulnerability and saying, like, I need help. I can't do this by myself. And so we had really good conversations just leading around and wrapping around kind of this whole mission and vision together. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, there's just a lot of love for Jordan. What can we say? I mean, like I said, I'm so excited, Jen, for what you've been doing and putting this together. And it's gonna be really cool to see it all kick out. And here we go. You got a big old shout out, and it's from
There's
Megan.
my friend.
Yeah. Can you read that?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you read it?
Yeah, it says, shout out Heartbeats of Adapted PE podcast. Thanks for welcoming me to the advisory board. Love supporting this project and what you are doing, Jen. What you need to know about Megan is we have absolutely no fun together whatsoever. It's so boring. And no, I'm just kidding. We have so much. I text her constantly. We're going to be presenting a couple of sessions together in Baltimore. So you guys got to come check us out. We're going to have so much fun.
Okay, we got some breaking news, some big time breaking news, in case you didn't know. But Jen is also going to have a little extra duty at this year's convention because she is going to be interviewing right after the National Teachers of the Years are announced. Usually that's been done by Jessica Matheson, but Jessica can't be there. And Jen has agreed to join us and be interviewing all the National Teachers of the Year. I know that's a big deal, actually. Because yeah, exactly. So Jen, talk to us about that. I mean, because you are obviously our National Teacher of the Year and you've been part of that program for quite some time. What's that like? I mean, when you think about National Teacher of the Year.
Well, I think, it just brings me right back to when they said my name and I went up on stage and accepted that award and that I was selected and welcomed me into a Teacher of the Year family that has brought me so far. And so when I interview the selected award winners, I'm going back to my moment and being like, what would I want to be asked? What am I feeling? What are we going to go forward as an ambassador for SHAPE America? What is that going to look like? And so I'm just excited to see their responses.
Yeah. Well, anyways, congratulations. I know I'm excited. I'll be working alongside you as we do those interviews. And that's always a highlight for me. And simply just because of the raw reaction you get when you ask them, literally within a few minutes of the moment. And then we're going live right there, on capturing those interviews. And Jen, thank you so much for joining us and helping us out doing that. So Lisa, talk to us about our next guest.
Well, thanks, Jen. That's really exciting. A much needed topic. I'm so excited to hear more about that podcast on deck. So our next guest is Nilo Ramos, and Nilo is past chair of the SHAPE America Physical Education Council and currently a member of the SHAPE America Research Council. Nilo, welcome. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I feel like you've been around for a little while now. I mean, really not that long. It's all relevant. But how many SHAPE America conventions have you been to so far?
The first one I can recall was in 2012 when I went to Boston. They canceled the convention. I was ready to present. Oh wow! They ended up canceling. So I was happy at the same time sad because I had prepared so much to present my research, and then I couldn't.
Well, and what are you most excited about for this year in Baltimore?
Well, again, I am very excited with all the research that they have going. Of course, all the presentations. I think I'm excited about many different things. The connection, networking. I'm bringing some of my students to the convention because I think it's very important for them to start really networking, seeing what's going on, and really start developing as a professional. So, I try to, benefit as much as possible from all those different areas, the research, the professional presentations, students, network, and all of those things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Nilo, I think something you and I have chatted about in the past is this idea that, SHAPE America is doing so many good things in terms of research. And in Baltimore, there's a lot of really great things to look forward to. I know we have some awesome lectures on deck. There's posters, there's abstracts. But I think the thing most importantly is sometimes, in higher education, we put on these research presentations and we want so badly to bridge the gap between theory and practice.
Yeah.
What can we tell the K-12 practitioners that are watching right now about what maybe they can look for in the final program, and how maybe they can make a decision about should they attend a research presentation or what should they do if they go to one?
Okay, well, just to give an overview first. SHAPE, again, like you said, Lisa, they have many different activities, right? In poster presentations, oral presentation, lectures, and different things to help people doing research in many different areas that impact health and physical education, to really present what they're doing, their findings, and how that impacts physical education and health. For me, what I think why K through 12 professionals should attend, even though again these presentations are not like a teaching presentation where they are up there and moving and doing all these things. These research presentations have a lot of information that really will impact the things that teachers do in the classroom. So I think again it's very important that they start going to those, and if they can, try 1 or 2 sessions, right? Just go and see what they're talking about, because again, those things really can impact what they do in the gym. So again, I recommend look at the agenda, the schedule. Look for some research presentations, either the posters or the oral presentations or even the lectures, and see what they're going to be discussing, right? So for example, the Daryl Sidentop Scholar Lecture, Dr. Hans van der Meer is talking about how sports as a social and cultural institution has evolved in the last decades, and the impact of that in PE. That's something that is very important for anybody teaching physical education, right? There are some different posters, pretty much an oral presentation that goes over everything in physical education. So again, I would suggest look for something that they think could impact what they do in the gym, and go attend 1 of those 2 sessions. And again, it's fine to ask questions and think about how those findings or research does really relate to what they do in the gym.
Yeah, so important, right? Because I think a lot of times, especially, I know when I taught in the K-12, I often thought, oh, if it's a research presentation, it's not for me. It's for other, higher ed faculty, but really it's for everyone. And there's something to be learned from everyone. And I would just encourage to try it and ask questions, because really that's what this work is for, right? And so I'm really glad that you mentioned that, Nilo. There's a lot of really great posters I know that are being presented, as well as abstracts and an awesome lecture. So thanks, Nilo. Guy, what do we have next?
Well, I'm going to actually bring up a few comments just because Nilo, you started it, but they wanted to know, how long you've been coming. So here's Bob. He's actually been coming since 2006. He's been coming every year ever since. And then Robin Walker, she's been coming since she was a senior in college, 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'll throw mine out there. I've been coming since Judy Lobianco's president at SHAPE Tampa in 2019. Yes. And now our next guest, boy, does he have a story for you. And we might need to seriously get out a calculator for how long he's been coming to conventions. Exactly. Don't worry. Trying to think where he is. I hope he's here. Where is he? Here we go. None other than Dr. Tom Lowry. And where the heck is he? Isn't that funny? We're talking about wanting to make an entrance. There he is. He's got to make his entrance. He probably got the calculator out just to find out how many years he's been coming. So, Tom, first of all, how are you, and how many conventions have you been coming to?
Well, this will mark the 60th anniversary of my first convention.
Oh my gosh.
1965, Chicago.
Okay, Tom, hold on. Pause. Okay. I normally would never admit this on air, but I'm going to say it. Tom, I wasn't even born yet. Say it.
I doubt that any of you were. But that's
wow.
That's the reality. and I'm still healthy. And so I'll do everything that I can to continue.
That's amazing.
It is. Yeah, Tom, just getting some of the love put out there, and yeah, you're getting a lot of love out there, and certainly within the comments. All right, so Tom, the question we have is, okay, so you've been to This Will Be 60, and this question is really important because what are some tips that you would have for people that are attending? And I know that I learned a lot from you, obviously, because we worked together for nearly a decade at MoShape, and now that we're coming to Shape Baltimore, I know Cara is so jacked up, juiced, and she's talking about moving in the paint, taking 3-pointers. Sound like she's a coach of the team that has coach Golden State, their coach Steve Kerr, Mr. 3-point drainer back in the day when he played for the Bulls. So Tom, what's your game plan for people that are attending, maybe even for the first time?
Well, my first game plan, and this is off the point, will be you need to meet the leaders. I'll talk about that. But when you meet Joe Deutsch, he'll probably try to throw in an underhook. So put your head right in the middle of his chest, throw in a whizzer, and that is the best counter that you can give. That's the background that Joe and I share. But I've got a few ideas because I attended in Chicago mainly with one big desire. First, I wanted to grow. Yeah. It was my third year of teaching, and I wanted to become a better professional. That was the most important thing. I wanted to meet Dr. Reuben Frost, the president of AFERD at that time, because he and I graduated from the same college in Northern Iowa, Luther College, and his 2 daughters were working on the student newspaper with me. And so I wanted to walk up and meet Reuben, Dr. Jack Frost. I'm Tom Lowry. I'm a Luther graduate. Mary and Martha send their greetings. And from that point on, Jack and I had dinner at the next 3 or 4 conventions every year. That's the connection. When you meet people, do not be afraid. I don't care if you're a first-year professional or a 10-year professional. Walk up to Joe, to Cara, to Judy, to anyone on the screen or anybody who's presenting and say, my name is so-and-so, I teach here, and I want to thank you for what you've given to me. And so by meeting people, and that we have the most friendly CEO that anyone could happen. There's no one better than Stephanie at making connections. And she remembers you. She will connect with you. If you have ever been on horseback, she will be an immediate pal of yours. So again, it's critically important to meet people at all levels. Some of you talked about asking questions after a presentation or during a presentation, going up to the presenter afterwards and saying, thank you, I really got something out of this. So you're there to grow. And it's critically important that you also expand your horizon. Too often, we have conventions where people want to go to only the activity sessions because, they want to get something they can put into their class right away on Monday or Tuesday. Are we talking about physical education or physical entertainment? And if we look at physical education, what are you doing to create a person who's going to have a long and healthy life? Next month, I'm going to be 85 years old and I don't take a pill. Lucky. That's what genetics does for you. But if genetics is not on your side, what are you doing to be active, to eat healthy, to have a good mental outlook on life and have friends and supportive? So again, you're there to expand your horizons. In the Chicago Convention, I remember sitting in a lecture of over 500 people where Dr. Arthur Steinhaus, who was the most preeminent physiologist in the world, talked for the first time that I'd heard of the connection between physical activity and brain connections. And being I was a grad student working on my master's at the University of Iowa at that time, I was able to take back some of those things and form connections with those in my master's program and those that were on my doctoral committee. And so you do that by challenging yourself. You don't go there to become comfortable. You have to jump off a log and catch yourself. And so it's critically important that you learn to expand and see what you can do to take back. It's very important for you to use this as a stepping stone for being much more involved in the organization. The connections that you have and the social aspect of it is critically important. Joe and I are going to meet. We already have that set. And I'm not going to wear khaki pants because the last time we sat at a bar, I spilled red wine on my khakis. That was up in North Dakota or South Dakota. So those are the connections that you have. And you never know which of these is going to be beneficial. Because I was involved and started to attend conventions as early as I could and got to know people, I was fortunate to be able to connect with some of the brightest minds in our profession, serve on projects that had some of the most significance, and allowed me to see our world in a different way than I would have if I would not have attended. So all of these things are critically important. And it's very important, as Guy, you and I discussed today, when you return, thank your administrator.
Yeah, good point. Very good
If
point.
you are a faculty member at a college or university or an elementary school teacher, if someone provided support for you to go to Baltimore, you write them a letter and just say, thank you for supporting me. Here are the sessions I attended. Here's what I got out of it. And here are the things that I'm going to do to make our school, our students, and our program better. So it's a whole wraparound project. And I've been fortunate enough to live this long and to see so many of you rock stars in our profession that are elevating us. My time has been extremely valuable to me. Yes, I'm completely retired, maybe. And I don't have the podcast like Jen has, but we are doing some things in our state from the advocacy standpoint. From looking at our profession. Is it PE over here, health over here, something else over here? Or how are we bringing the school district together to show the importance of health for all? And what are the connections we can make with the public health personnel, people like this? And so we're gathering impact data. One small piece of that in a PEP grant that we had in Ferguson, Florissant, a number of years ago, we found that students, this was a school district of 11,500 students, students who met all 4 fitness categories were attending school at the rate of 96.2%. Those that held 0 healthy zones were attending school at the rate of 91.2%. Now, when a school district of 11,500 students is being paid X number of dollars per student, per pupil attendance on a daily basis, the school board stood up and gave Laura a standing ovation. And the health and PE budget became the #1 funded budget in the district the following year. We need data, and you people are going to have to provide that. I've been fortunate, Guy.
Well, you have, and Tom, I just want to say just what a blessing it is for you to even take the time and even be here, you know, with, like you said, I mean, I know you say you're retired, but we know how that really works, because I'm telling you right now, Tom, I check in with you from time to time. And again, you are just continuing to elevate this profession. You're continuing to connect people. You're continuing to look for resource opportunities. And like I said, Tom, just on a personal note, I've been blessed to be with you for 10 years in the great state of Missouri and all the things that we were able to do and still are doing with our leadership today.
More
And just
ahead.
thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Tom, thank you. And yeah, exactly. We'll pull up this for you, Tom. Yeah, giant. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So, hey, Tom, I'm going to actually have you introduce our last guest only because you actually brought this person to us at MoShape who actually taught us a bunch of cool stuff just a few years ago. And I know you know him really well. So why don't you tee up our last guest?
Well, first of all, this young man, I call him young because 30 some years younger than me, that's young. But his motor's running full blast all the time. His connection with people is amazing.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that he even sleeps, but it's been a pleasure to work with and see the results of everything that Chris Walker's done in the state of North Carolina.
Yep.
And one of my idols, Chris, you know that we have a good time each time we're together, but amazing his contributions and his approach to teaching and what it's all about for our profession. So Chris, let's make it work.
Thank you so much, Tom, and Guy and Lisa and everybody here. Just amazing folks on this podcast. I'm just so thankful to have this opportunity with these great folks. All of y'all I've met at one point or another over my career, but super excited to meet more people. But thank you for everything, and Tom, thank you so much for allowing me, to come to MoShape and just learn from you because you're on Mount Rushmore of HPE.
I'm on the backside of that.
Nah, you're on the front side. You're on the front. It should be Tom Rushmore. I think they're going to name it Tom Rushmore. Oh, I think Lisa's talking in mute. She's mute.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if I feel like, Chris, if you ever sleep either. You've got like that ongoing energy. I don't know. But so what are you most excited for Baltimore?
So I'm super excited is that not only do I get to see these great folks that are here right now, but also to meet other folks. I know you'll see my office is kind of junky, but it's going to get better, hopefully. But I'm excited to just to meet and learn. A couple things that I was listening to these great presenters here is just, the networking. And when I first started attending so many moons ago, SHAPE America, but, here in North Carolina, I realized the networking is the key thing because the thing that we tend to have in our profession is that we're in silos. Unless you're in middle and high school, if you're in elementary school like I am for the past 29 years, it's like I always felt I was in a silo. And I say that is that, there's nobody else you can reference within your building for what you do every single day. And so every time when I go to a conference, I'm just like super excited, jaw dropping, just meeting all these amazing people and colleagues around the state of North Carolina and around the country and out of the country that have had the opportunity to move. It's been like amazing. So the most things like is networking. And then outside of the networking, like Tom and Nilo was saying, was that you should probably step out on a limb. I know there's like a lot of things that we tend like to do. Like I love to dance. I love to go into the physical education classes and the health classes, and pick out things that I already know. But you need to step on that edge to go do something new. And I say that is that you can create new communities and new colleagues and new connections with other people when you step out. And I think that's a good thing. And so that's what I'm going to try to do when I get there. Each year that I go, I always try to step out, hear, this presenter or this person I saw on YouTube, TikTok, X. And I try to go see those presentations because they inspire me one way or another. And I just try to reach out to those folks then. And then once I go and step on the ledge and try something new, the next thing I do is try to continue to connect. And not just connect that week, but connect after that. The good thing is with social media, from when I started way back in mid-90s, I won't say how old I am, but the social media wasn't as prevalent. And so, the things that you had was, this thing called a fax machine. So for your young folks, is like this thing you push a button and it sends a sheet. Anyway, but now with this social media, you can like reach out to folks. And the thing that I found is most everybody that I've reached out to have talked back or reached back out to me, whether it's via email or some other platform. It's been like a great thing. So don't feel like you're in a silo. Like once you meet folks, try these new sessions, step out on the ledge, stay connected, because the thing is, you folks, everybody who's coming to here, you're leaders in your own community. And when you go back, make new connections with your colleagues within your school district or within your state, because they would love to hear from you the new things that you're doing. And you may be able to inspire them to go to your state conference or the national conference to meet more people. So come back to your question, Lisa. Excited to network. We try new things and meet new people and just connect with friends from past, and new friends to make. So I'm always excited to go to the national convention when I'm able to come. So I'm fortunate to be able to go this year, and I'm super excited. So yeah, I can't wait to see you all.
That's really good advice. Between you and Tom, that's really good, solid advice for any kind of national convention. Lastly, Chris, something that I don't think we covered for any first-time attendees, or a good reminder for returning attendees, any other pieces of advice or like things that we should make sure we pack or do? Because I mean, it's amazing, and check out all those things, but we might need a break sometimes. We might need to like take a walk, or should we bring a water bottle or a protein bar? Like take a minute to ourselves, or any other pieces of advice for like when we're actually doing the thing over the 5 days.
So I will say take a break. There's a lot of things that are happening, not only at the convention SHAPE America, but there's going to be a lot of events in the evening. So when you go back to your hotel or wherever you're staying, your Airbnb or your Verbo, and just stay there, you take a breather. Give yourself about 30, 45 minutes, in an hour if you can, take a nap. Because if you don't take that nap and you roll into the next night, you're going to be exhausted when you go back to school on that Monday. Or if you're in spring break, you need to take a nap. A nap is good. One of those, like before 4 o'clock if you can. But try to get a nap in, rest and recover, and bring in some snacks. And last thing, bring an extra shirt when you're attending, because you're going to be active. Even what I found, and a lot of folks think it's only physical education, but a lot of the health sessions, you're active in the health sessions. It's been amazing to see some of those sessions when you're out and moving. So bring an extra t-shirt, some clean socks, hopefully, dry those out. And just keep yourself, because when you are, I guess you are a role model for all your kiddos when you get back home. And so if you're not healthy, they're not going to see a healthy teacher. So they're going to think about being healthy. So take care of yourself when you're there. Take a nap, bring some snacks.
Take a nap, bring the water, bring the snacks. Get ready for a little ping pong. Milo, bring an extra shirt for ping pong.
Yeah, definitely. I'll meet you at 5 o'clock in the morning workout if we're in the same hotel.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Hey, Guy. So I think one thing we haven't talked about yet, there's something different going on with the sponsors and our exhibitors this year. Can you share a little bit more?
Yeah, there is. One of the things I always love about SHAPE America, and this is Beth Bennett and her team, and they're always looking at how we can, or how they can make, the connections with sponsors even stronger. And a couple of things that are new this year. Number one is the sponsors will have exhibitor sessions, but not just in the exhibit hall anymore, actually where the normal sessions are. So that's kind of a change for this year, which is really exciting. And then also, if you want to learn more about the sponsors in the app, there is a section called Meet the Sponsors that you can go click on. Thanks, Judy, for that tip, because she's on it. So that it's really easy to go ahead and to learn more about the sponsors, especially even the new ones, because again, SHAPE America takes their time on what sponsors are going to come each and every year. Obviously, they're very strategic, serving the needs of certainly the people that attend, and certainly, trying to help us connect with our students in the biggest and best ways. So just want to give Lisa a little bit of that heads up in terms of the sponsors. What's going on there. And, I haven't asked you this, so I have to ask you this. What's going on in your world as you chair the Physical Activity Council? What's going on at SHAPE Baltimore in your world?
Well, thanks for asking.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm really excited that the SHAPE America Physical Activity Council has now revised every position statement. When you click on physical activity under SHAPE America guidance documents, they're not all published yet, but they've all been revised. And that's really exciting and important work, especially in terms of policy advocacy, right? Because all of the work that we're doing means nothing unless we can implement these quality programs via policy and our voices matter and things. And We have a session called Save by the Bell, which highlights our before and after school physical activity, promotion, position statement, and the employee wellness SIG. And maybe as folks know, all of the different special interest groups have now been placed underneath different councils. And so in terms of employee wellness, the SHAPE America Physical Activity Council works with the Employee Wellness SIG, and they are doing a lot of really awesome sessions too, as well as coffee talks. I know at least 2 of the days, and are going to be highlighting that new position statement around employee wellness in schools. So a lot of really great things. We've got coffee talks every day, and then a few different other sessions, mostly around comprehensive school physical activity programming, and then specifically before and after school programming. So really good stuff on deck.
Absolutely. And Lisa, I don't know about you, but you know what? It's always been a blessing and a blast to host, obviously, the show together. And we're getting near the end. And I know we're going to make some of the people in marketing happy, because we will be landing the plane under an hour. And so with that, we're going to bring Dr. Kara Grant. Kara's coming back to wrap it all up. Kara, you've been listening for the last almost hour. And now that I'm sure, you know, your heart is just pounding. You wish the conference were tomorrow. Actually not, but you're getting there. Exactly. And so 2 things, Kara, you know, one is, you know, just feeding off the energy of this panel, but also talk to us a little bit about the future professionals and what's going on there.
There's so much going on throughout, and you may have seen in the comments that, yes, thank you, Bob, that the Student Summit is Saturday. There's going to be tons of experiences for you to connect with students, for students to access different opportunities as well. So we're just really excited about having our students engage, as well as other groups too.
And so as you want to put a bow on this particular podcast, what do you get the final word, and what's that word going to be?
Get ready for SHAPE Baltimore. If you've never been to the Baltimore area before, please get ready to have your palate soothed. And that is your emotional palate, your dining palate, and your intellectual palate through the convention. So Old Bay, you have to get crabs. We're going to be right by the water.
Nice.
You can take a walking break around the Inner Harbor. We're a stone's throw from the Baltimore Orioles stadium, and depending on which hotel and where your room is, you might be looking out onto the stadium and get to see one of the few games that are happening that week.
Oh, wow.
If you're a runner or a walker, you can get a city bike or a scooter or move around in many different ways. So just come ready. Come with some device or strategy to capture how you connect with people. I always like to take a picture with them, so that way I have a face connecting with the name, and then I'll lock it in and text them. So that way I make that connection immediately. And that's helped me so much. And be ready to, like, you're going to have to prioritize. There's so much going on, and you can't have remorse if you can't get to something, but maybe that connection you just made already, they're going to, and so you can meet up. But no matter what, come ready, come open to receive messages of what you can do or what you can try, and who you can equip with you to walk that walk and do the talk instead of just doing the talk. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at Tom, and it's just like, you know, he said we don't have physical entertainment, we have physical education. And I think you could say the same thing with health ed. It's not health entertainment, it's health education. There's no just push play. We got to equip our students and our colleagues so that we can make a difference. And that goes back to the transformational leadership, and leading with love, and making sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students with equity, diversity, and inclusion, whether gender orientation, ability status, socioeconomic status, all the things. So we're so excited to have you. Can't wait. And don't forget, we have the SHAPE Countdown happening. # SHAPE Countdown, # SHAPE Baltimore. And we can't wait to see you. So be sure to come up to us and connect with us when we're there.
Absolutely. It's all coming up in just a little over a week. Yeah, SHAPE Baltimore. And if you haven't registered, you still can. You can go right there to www.shapeamerica.org and register today. And for all of our panelists, I just want to say thank you. And certainly for my co-host, Lisa, thank you again for another amazing year. And we'll get these in. And there we go, little woot woot going on. Yep, see you in Baltimore. And LaDonda, absolutely, let's go. And just want to thank you all for watching it right here on Shape America Network, as we're really excited to see you all at Shape Baltimore just a little over a week away. Thank you guys, and good night.